Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, National Bankshares Inc. NKSH just filed a current report, and I am seeing a strategic move that is costing them some money short term. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. They've restructured their investment portfolio, and while it is a loss now, it is aimed at boosting future earnings. So we're looking at an 8K filing from National Bankshares Incorporated, which is basically a way for public companies to announce major events that shareholders need to know about right away. This one dropped on the 2nd of July 2026. Before we dive into the news, a quick reminder about National Bankshares Incorporated. They are a regional bank based in Virginia, trading on the NASDAQ stock market under the ticker symbol NKSH. Their stock price has been trading in a pretty tight range this year, and they have a market cap of around $233 million. The main event here is something called a strategic repositioning of a portion of their securities available for sale portfolio. Let's break that down. Think of it as they had a bunch of investments, like bonds, that they could sell if they needed to. They decided to sell some of these to buy others that they believe will perform better in the long run. So they sold investments that had cost them about $131.87 million. These older investments were only giving them a return, or yield, of about 1.80%. That is pretty low, especially in the current interest rate environment. After selling those lower yielding assets, they turned around and bought new investments. These new ones cost them a bit less, around $127.33 million. But here is the key part. They're bringing in a much higher yield, about 5.16%. That is almost 3 times the return of the old investments. Now, selling investments, especially if interest rates have gone up since you bought them, can sometimes mean taking a loss. And that is exactly what happened here. They booked a pre-tax loss of about $6.55 million on this sale. This loss will show up in their financial reports for the second quarter of 2026. For a company of their size, that is a notable hit. It is important to note that this investment move happened after they sold another part of their business, their stake in Bearing Insurance Group Incorporated. This is a common strategy. They're using gains from one area to offset losses in another, or at least preparing the company for better future performance. The filing explicitly states that the money they made from selling the insurance business will help balance out the loss they just took on their investment portfolio. This means the immediate impact on their earnings might not be as bad as the $6.55 million loss suggests. It is like taking a hit now to reposition for a bigger win later. And they're not just hoping for recovery, they're projecting it. National Bankshares Incorporated expects to make back that $6.55 million pre-tax loss within about 1.8 years. This is thanks to the higher interest income generated by the new, higher yielding investments. For context, if you think about your own finances, it is like selling an old car that is not getting great gas mileage to buy a more fuel-efficient one. You might have some upfront costs, but you save money over time. So, what does this all mean for National Bankshares Incorporated? They are a community bank, operating primarily in Virginia. They own the National Bank of Blacksburg, which does business as National Bank, and also have a financial services and insurance subsidiary. Their focus is on serving local communities. This move to upgrade their investment portfolio is a sign of proactive management. In a banking environment where interest income is crucial, locking in higher yields is a smart strategy. The market has been a bit cautious on regional banks lately, and I think this move aims to strengthen their balance sheet and improve profitability over the next couple of years. Now, like most filings, this one includes a section on forward-looking statements. This is basically a disclaimer saying that anything related to future performance is based on current expectations and could change. They list a lot of potential risks, from inflation and interest rates to economic conditions and even geopolitical events. It is standard legal language, but it highlights that running a bank is complex and subject to many external factors. The report is signed off by Lara E. Ramsey, the president and CEO. This tells us the leadership is aware of and responsible for these strategic decisions. Looking at this filing, the story is clear. National Bankshares Incorporated is making a calculated move to improve its earnings power. They sold lower yielding assets for a short-term loss to acquire higher yielding ones for better long-term returns. The key numbers are the 1.80% yield they shed versus the 5.16% yield they picked up, and the $6.55 million pre-tax loss they took to get there. They are essentially betting that the increased interest income will more than make up for the loss within roughly a year and a half. This is a common strategy for banks when they see an opportunity to improve their net interest margin, which is the difference between what they earn on loans and investments and what they pay out on deposits. My take is that this shows good financial management. They are not afraid to take a small hit now to position themselves for better performance later. The risk is obviously that the economic conditions they are betting on don't materialize or that interest rates move in an unexpected way, but the management team here seems to be making a solid bet on improving their yield. The biggest concern I would have is always the execution of these plans and if the assumed payback period holds true. But based on the numbers, this looks like a move in the right direction for National Bankshares Incorporated. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded, like, comment, subscribe, and join our Discord, all in the description.